This is WAEC June 2022 General Mathematics Paper 2, and we are answering question number 9. And the question says copy and complete the table for the values of this trig function y equals to 3 sin x plus 7 cos x for values of x ranging from 0 degrees to 180 degrees. This is the table. So few values of y are given, like when x is 0 degree, the value of y here is given as 7.0. When x is 80 degrees, the corresponding value of y is given as 4.2. Similarly, when x is 120 degrees, the corresponding y is given as minus 0.9. So the missing values of y is what we are going to answer in this question number A. Question number B says using a scale of 2 centimeter to 20 degrees on the x-axis and 2 centimeter to 2 units on the y-axis, you are asked to draw the graph of this trig function y equals to 3 sin x plus 7 cos x for the same range of values of x0 to 180 degrees. And then question number C says after drawing the graph, you have to use that very graph to answer these two questions. Roman 1 question says to find the value of y when x is 150 degrees, and Roman 2 asks you to find the range of values of x for which y is greater than 0. So let's attempt to answer all those questions together. To start with is the very first question that we asked you to copy and complete this very table. Completing this table means finding the missing values of y. So starting with this missing value of y when x is now 20 degrees. To find this missing y, what you simply do, take your calculator, find the sine 20 degrees, that is x replaced by 20, so sine 20. You now find it, multiply it by 3. Keep that answer separate. Also find the cos to 20. Now replace x by 20 in this cos x. Find the cos to 20 degrees, multiply the result by 7. Then this result, after multiplying by 7, add it to your previous result, that is 3 sine 20. If that is done correctly, you now have 7.6 when you round your answer to one place of decimal. Next missing value of y is when x is 40 degrees. So find the sine 40 multiplied by 3, keep the answer separate. Find the cos of 40, multiply it by 7, keep the answer separate, then add the two results. If that is done correctly and you rounded your answer to one decimal place, you now have 7.3. So next is when x is 60. So find the sine 60 with your calculator, multiply it by 3. Find the cos 60 multiplied by 7, add the two results. If that is done correctly, you now have 6.1. Next is when x is 100. So find the sine 100 multiplied by 3, find the cos 100 multiplied by 7, add the two results. If that is done correctly, you now have 1.7 rounded to one place of decimal. So if you did it the same correctly, you now have when x is 140, y will now be minus 3.4. When x is 160, y will now be minus 5.6. And when x is 180, y is now going to be minus 7.0. This is the table. We have answered the very first question A. The table is now completed. So next we move to question number B, that we are required now to draw the graph of this trig function on this our graph paper. The scale given here is 2 centimeter to 20 degrees. Let me start drawing this x-axis first. I'm using 2 centimeter to 20 degrees. Each of these boxes now just 1 centimeter. So 2 boxes will now be 2 centimeters. So I'm now using 2 boxes for 20 degrees. That is the meaning. Let me draw that x-axis. So starting the 0 here, the next 2 boxes 20, another 2 boxes 40, another 2 boxes 60. So I'm using 2 centimeter for 20 degrees. This is my x-axis. So now move through the y-axis. The y-axis says 2 centimeter, 2 units. The vertical axis, 2 boxes also make 2 units. So I'm going to have my y-axis crossing the x-axis at 0. So I'm going to have on the positive part 2 boxes, you see 2. Another 2 boxes, you have 4. Another 2 boxes, 6. After this, it is the same to the negative part. So I have drawn my 2 axes. What remains is to plot this set of points on this very graph. So starting with the very first point, when x is 0, y is 7.0. When x is 0, y is 7.0. I'll now find the appropriate place. This is the place, x 0, y 7. So I'll make a small marker there. Look at it. So next, x20, y 7.6. This is x20, y 7.6. This is y7. Each small division here is now going to be 0.2. So 7.6 will now be on top of this 7, 3 small divisions there. So I'm going to make a marker there. Look at it. So next point is when x is 40, y is 7.3. This is x40. Y 7.3 will just be 1.5 small division on top of this 7. So I'm going to make a marker there. Next is x60, y 6.1. x60, y 6.1. 6.1 will just be middle in between the first, just half of small division. This is 6. So 6.1 is just a little above this 6. So when x is 80, y is 4.2. X 80, y 4.2. This is 4. This is 4. So 4.2 just to be small division, one small division on top of this 4. So I'm going to do this the same to mark all the remaining points. So x 100, y 1.7 is going to be somewhere here. X 120, y minus 0.9 is now going to be somewhere here because this is 10. So before 10.9. X 140, y minus 3.4. This is the place. X 160, y minus 5.6. It is now going to be here. And the last x 180, y minus 7.0 is now going to be here. These are my points. So next is to use your broomstick or your French curve to join those set of points using a smooth curve. The curve has to be smooth because we are answering questions from this graph. If the curve is not smooth, your answers may not be accurate. So the curve is now going to be like this. Look at it. I will join all the points together using this smooth curve. So question number B has been answered. Next is question number C. We are using this very graph that we have drawn and answer the value of y. That is to find the value of y1, x is 150. X150, you locate it first. This is X140, X160. So X150 will be this very place. So what you now do, use your ruler to draw a dashed line. A dashed line to touch your curve. Immediately touches your curve, you turn left to the vertical axis to the y-axis. So the value here would now be the value of y when x is 150. And from our estimate here, if this is minus 4, this is minus 6, each small division on this vertical axis is 0.2. You can see here is exactly 3 small division below this minus 4, which means it is now going to be minus 4.6. So y will now be minus 4.6. Next, Roman 2, to find the range of x for which y is greater than 0. You can see on this curve y is greater than 0, y is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. After this very place on the x-axis, where it crosses x-axis, the value of y there is 0. But if you move down, the value of y will now be less than 0, is now going to be negative. So which means from this x0, after this very place, the corresponding value of y is now going to be greater than 0. So you now to estimate what will be here, exactly where the curve crosses the x-axis, what will be here. This is just one small division after this thick division. It's just one small division. This is 110. So one small division after 110 is 2. So this will give me 112. So the range of values of x for which y is greater than 0 is now going to be from this is x0 to x equals to 112. So I'm going to write the range here in form of inequalities of x from 0 degrees to 112 degrees. The corresponding value of y there is now going to be greater than 0. And this answered the question. So let me just share with you quickly the market distribution for this very question. as it is there in the marking scheme. So the very first mark is the bonus to 4 marks. This bonus 4 marks is completing the table correctly. If all the entries that there are correct, you have this bonus 4 marks. If anyone is wrong, it's now going to be minus half for each wrong one. The next mark is the plotting these points on the graph. If all are plotted correctly, you have bonus 4 marks. If anyone is wrong, it's now going to be minus half a mark for each wrong one. Next marker is a method 1 marker, and that method 1 mark is attempting to get the value of y1x is 150. That is drawing this very line at x equals to 150 and turning it after this, you have this method 1 mark. And when you now have the corresponding y when x is 150 as minus 4.6 exactly, you have this accuracy 1 mark. And the last mark is bonus 2 marks when you now have this range correctly. That is 0 to 112 degrees. You have this bonus 2 marks. And this question, if everything is answered correct, you have 12 good marks.